My sister set me up, my family disowned me, and even after the truth came out, they kept in touch, but now they're looking for me. I, 29M, used to think my family was unshakable. We were never perfect, no one is, but we were close, or so I thought. Sunday dinners at my parents' place, dumb birthday traditions, camping every summer like clockwork. We even had this group text where we'd send memes, updates, pics of our dogs and babies. Not mine. I've got neither. There were rough patches growing up, sure, but I genuinely believed that when it mattered, we had each other's backs. Especially my sister, Lauren. She's 2 years younger than me. We used to be inseparable as kids. I'd push her on the swings, sneak her candy when mom wasn't looking, and let her hang with me and my friends even when they called her a tag-along. I was fiercely protective of her, even into our teenage years. She was a bit wild, skipped class, dated older guys, the whole deal, but I figured that's just how some kids are. I tried to be the grounded one. When she hit her 20s, she pulled her life together, or seemed to. Got a job in HR, moved out, started acting more responsible. I was proud of her. She even got her own apartment before I did. Our relationship shifted. We weren't kids anymore, but we still texted often, shared inside jokes, and hung out regularly. Looking back, there were signs. Moments that made me pause. Things she said about people she didn't like. Twisted, manipulative stuff. Once, when our cousin didn't invite her to a bachelorette party, she made a fake Instagram account to stir drama in the group. I laughed it off at the time. "That's dark," I said, and she just smiled and said, "Don't mess with me." God, if only I'd taken that more seriously. The betrayal didn't come overnight. It started slowly, subtle shifts in how my family looked at me, questions that didn't make sense, coldness that seemed to come out of nowhere. But I'm getting ahead of myself. At the time, I had just gotten promoted to a team lead role at my job. Things were finally going well. I'd started seeing someone new, Emily, and she was incredible. Sweet, smart, way too good at Scrabble. Lauren met her once and was off. Not rude, but oddly distant. After that dinner, she barely acknowledged Emily in the family group chat, even when others welcomed her in. Felt weird. And then, a month later, everything exploded. It was a Saturday morning. I was out for a run when my phone started blowing up. Calls from my mom, Dad, Uncle Joe, even my younger cousin I hadn't spoken to in months. I picked up a call from Mom, breathless. And before I could say anything, she yelled, "How could you?" I was stunned. I asked her what she was talking about, and all she said was, "You're sick. Don't contact us until you've gotten help." She hung up. I stopped running right there on the trail, completely thrown. I called her back, voicemail. Called Dad, voicemail. Lauren wasn't answering either. I had no clue what was going on until I got home and opened my email. There it was, a forwarded thread from Lauren, sent to the whole family. Screenshots, texts, and a message that read, "I didn't want to do this, but I can't stay quiet anymore." She accused me of making inappropriate comments toward her. Yes, her own brother. Said she'd felt unsafe around me for years and finally decided to speak up. She included screenshots of texts between us taken completely out of context, doctored to look incriminating. Stuff I'd never said was suddenly proof of a pattern of behavior. One of the screenshots was from a conversation we had about her ex, but she'd removed her texts and changed the names to make it look like I was flirting with her. My stomach dropped. It was so absurd, so vile, I thought surely no one would believe it. But they did. Every single one of them. Not one person in my family reached out to ask me what happened. I called my aunt, who I was always close with, straight to voicemail. Emily tried to vouch for me in the group chat and was immediately removed. I was deleted from every family thread. My dad blocked me. My mom sent a final text that read, "You disgust me." I didn't eat for 3 days. Couldn't sleep. I felt like I'd woken up in someone else's nightmare. And the worst part? I didn't know why Lauren did it. Not then. You ever have your entire reality crumble while you're still trying to make your morning coffee? That was me. Sunday morning, 6:43 a.m., standing barefoot in my kitchen, rereading that email chain with shaking hands, just trying to piece together how the hell my sister, the person I'd once taught how to ride a bike, could turn my family against me with one click. The screenshots were convincing if you didn't look too closely. She had messages supposedly from me, flirting with her, saying stuff like, "You looked good in that dress," or "Can't stop thinking about last night." I knew those weren't mine. The timestamps didn't even line up with my real conversations, and I don't talk like that. Ever. And the ones that were mine? Ripped out of context or completely redacted. She must have used a third-party app to alter them. Or copied and edited chat logs. Hell, maybe both. I didn't know she had that kind of darkness in her. Not really. I tried reaching out to people one by one. "Aunt Lisa, I'm sorry, but I need to protect my daughters. Uncle Joe, I love you, but this is above my pay grade." Even my cousin Mike, who had once stayed up all night helping with a DUI situation, told me, "Bro, this is serious. You should get help." I was radioactive. The only person who didn't abandon me was Emily. She believed me instantly. "That is lying," she said, shaking with anger. "I know you, Alex. You're not capable of this." God, I don't know what I would have done without her. I probably wouldn't be writing this. We tried everything. I offered to go to the police. To get my phone records, my location data, anything. But my family wasn't interested in the truth. They didn't want to hear it. They wanted me gone. Quiet. Disowned. And then things got worse. 2 weeks after Lauren's email, I lost my job. Technically it was a layoff, but let's be honest, it wasn't a coincidence. HR never told me if someone called in, but the vibe was weird the whole last week. My manager, once friendly, barely looked me in the eye. I know how whispers spread. Especially when your sister frames you as a predator and half your extended family works in the same damn industry. I started spiraling. Depression hit like a freight train. I was afraid to leave the apartment. Every time my phone buzzed, I panicked. What if the cops showed up? What if someone tried to teach me a lesson? Emily took a leave from work just to help me stay afloat. She made me eat, shower. She found a lawyer too, one who specialized in defamation and digital forensics. And that's when we discovered the truth. Lauren had fabricated the messages. All of them. The lawyer's tech guy pulled metadata from screenshots I had of our real conversations. Timestamps didn't match. Font spacing was off. She'd used a cloning app to make the fake messages look like real iMessages, but tech never lies. We had her. Cold. We sent a cease and desist and prepped a civil case. And then Lauren cracked. She didn't apologize. She didn't confess out of guilt. No. She tried to negotiate. She called Emily, not me. Said she panicked because she thought I was going to expose her for stealing from Mom. Which I didn't even know about. Apparently, she'd been skimming money for years, unauthorized credit card purchases, fake invoices, the works. She said framing me was her only way out once she thought I might have found out. She called it preemptive self-defense. I listened to the call later and my knees nearly buckled. So I wasn't imagining it. I wasn't crazy. But here's the real kick in the teeth. Even after we sent proof to my family, they didn't cut her off. My mom sent a message a week later, "We've seen the documents. This is a complicated situation. Lauren is still our daughter." That line broke something in me. I waited for the apology that never came. My dad messaged once, "It's good you're okay. Let's give this time." Time? They erased me. Left me to rot in silence while my sister built a damn lie out of thin air. And when it all collapsed, they held her. They never held me. After everything came out, the proof, the call recording, the emails, there was this weird expectation that things would just reset. Like now that the truth was out there, everyone would say, "Oops, our bad." And we'd go back to potlucks and camping trips. But that's not what happened. What happened was silence. Not the peaceful kind, not the kind that brings clarity. This was the sharp, isolating kind of silence. The kind that fills every room in your apartment at once. That lingers in your inbox. That wakes you up at 3 a.m. and whispers they don't care. After Lauren's scam fell apart, my mom emailed me one sentence. "We're still processing things, but we hope you're healing." Healing? Healing from what exactly? From being disowned? From being painted as a pervert by my own sister? From being erased without a second thought? I didn't respond. What was I even supposed to say? Dad took longer. He sent a longer message a month later. 3 paragraphs. All bullshit. Full of half sympathy, half justifications. Things like, "We were shocked by Lauren's claims at the time. You have to understand how difficult it was for us. And, we love you both. We just didn't know who to believe." But the part that stuck with me, burned into my brain like it was branded, was this: "We couldn't turn our backs on your sister. She's been through a lot." She's been through a lot? I was the one who lost his job. I was the one nearly blacklisted from my own field. I was the one eating ramen for weeks and lying awake at night wondering if I was about to get a knock on the door from the cops. But she's the one they comforted. Even after I proved it. Even after she admitted it. The rest of the family followed suit. My uncle, who used to call me Champ when I was a kid, sent me a weak text that said, "Glad it got cleared up. Hope to see you at Christmas maybe." Like it was all water under the bridge. Spoiler alert, I didn't go to Christmas. I spent that day watching Die Hard with Emily, drinking whiskey, and trying to stop myself from imagining how many of them sat around a tree pretending nothing happened. I pictured Lauren passing out gifts, smiling, still in the circle. I was out, still out. The legal stuff dragged on for months. We didn't sue Lauren in the end. Not because she didn't deserve it, but because the lawyer said we'd spend more than we'd win. She didn't have money, just a hollow apartment, a wrecked reputation, and my family's diluted loyalty. The one small win. Emily found work again, and I eventually got hired by a remote tech company that didn't care about the gossip. We moved to a smaller town, somewhere quieter, far away from everyone. New number, new city, new life. And yeah, it got better. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't still angry. Not just at Lauren, but at all of them. Not a single person from my family picked up the phone to say, "I'm sorry, I didn't believe you." No one owned it. They just hoped time would cover it like fresh snow over bloodstains. But I remember everything. I remember the day I got that email. The moment my mom's voice cracked with disgust. The friends who ghosted me when they heard the rumor. The way Emily held me that night when I sat on the floor, shaking, whispering, "I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything." It's been almost 3 years now. 3 years of silence, mostly. Emily and I got married last summer. No family on my side attended. We didn't invite them. Not even out of pettiness, just out of preservation. I thought that would be the end of it. But of course, the past doesn't stay buried. 3 weeks ago, I got a message from my cousin Sarah. Short and sweet. "Hey, Uncle Rob's looking for you. He says your dad wants to reconnect." I didn't respond. 2 days later, a Facebook friend request popped up. Then another message, this time from my mom. "Can we talk? Things are different now." Different how? Did Lauren finally torch someone else? Did they run out of people to blame? Or is it just the holidays coming again and they miss their family photo looking whole? I showed the message to Emily. She read it, handed me back the phone and said, "Whatever you decide, I've got you." But I haven't responded, because part of me still wants to scream, and part of me wonders, is it even worth it anymore? 2 days after I got that message from Mom, "Can we talk? Things are different now." I was standing in my driveway holding a bag of groceries when I saw a silver SUV pull up. I didn't recognize it at first, but then the window rolled down. My dad was in the passenger seat. I stood there, frozen, arms full of eggs and bread and a frozen pizza I wasn't even hungry for anymore. He got out slowly, like he knew he was treading on sacred ground, like maybe if he moved too fast I'd vanish back into the house. "Alex," he said, voice a little hoarse. "Can we talk?" I didn't say anything. Just stared at him, still holding the grocery bag like a damn shield. Then the door opened behind me and Emily stepped out. She didn't say a word either. Just stood beside me, quiet, watching. Dad looked older. Not just age, worn. Like life had ground him down a little since the last time I saw him. Maybe it was the guilt. Maybe it was just age catching up. "I shouldn't have let it go the way it did," he said finally. "I wanted to come sooner, but I didn't know how." I laughed. Actually laughed. A bitter, dry sound that came from somewhere low in my chest. "You didn't know how?" I said. "You picked up the phone fast enough when she lied about me. Where was that urgency when the truth came out?" He looked down. That always used to drive me nuts as a kid, how he'd go silent whenever things got uncomfortable. Let Mom or someone else fill the space. But this time he didn't look away for long. "I believed her," he said. "And that's my failure. I don't even have a good excuse. I just believed her." "And what changed?" I asked. He sighed. "She did it again? Not to you. To someone else." Turns out Lauren had accused a coworker, some guy in her department, of harassment. Same MO, fake messages. Partial screenshots. Thing is, this guy wasn't like me. He fought back immediately. His lawyer tore it apart in a week. She was fired. Charges pending. Word got around. It wasn't just her job, her apartment complex evicted her after she threatened a neighbor's kid and someone finally reported her. Her whole web of manipulation collapsed. And my parents? They were finally forced to look at her for who she was. She's not well, Dad said. But that doesn't excuse what we did to you. No, it didn't. You kept talking to her, I said. Even after she confessed. After she ruined my life. You kept inviting her to Thanksgiving, Dad. He nodded slowly. I know. I thought if I kept her close, I could keep her stable. I thought I could fix her. And I left you out in the cold. It was the first time he'd really said it out loud. There was a long silence. Then Emily said, calm and sharp, you didn't just leave him out in the cold. You set the fire and walked away. My dad's eyes welled up, but I didn't feel sorry for him. Not anymore. He pulled something from his coat pocket and held it out, a letter. An actual letter. Folded neatly, handwritten. It's from your mom, he said. She couldn't face you yet. I didn't take it. I just stared at the paper like it might burn my skin. You know, I said, the worst part isn't even what Lauren did. It's that when the truth came out, you all just paused. Like you were waiting to see if I'd recover on my own before you decided if I was worth saving. He didn't argue. You could have called. Showed up. Instead, you sent me a paragraph about how complicated it all was. I'm sorry, he said. I believe he meant it. But sorry is cheap when it comes after years of silence. I looked over at Emily. She gave me a tiny nod. I turned back to my dad. You need to leave, I said quietly. He looked like he expected that. He placed the letter on the porch step, nodded once, and got back in the SUV. And just before the car drove off, he rolled down the window and said, you deserved better than us. Then he was gone. I didn't open the letter that night. I left it on the step, watched it curl in the wind a little. At one point, I almost picked it up. But I didn't. Because sometimes silence is the answer. It sat on my porch for 3 days. The letter. Folded neatly, pressed flat like something sacred. Like it was supposed to mean something. I'd walk past it every morning on the way to my car, sometimes half expecting the wind to take it away. But it didn't. It just stayed there. Waiting. I wasn't ready. Not at first. Emily asked me if I was ever going to read it. I told her I didn't know. Truth is, I was scared of what it might say. Scared it would either be everything I needed or worse, another manipulation. A last-ditch attempt at control disguised as remorse. But on the third night, after a fight with myself I couldn't win, I picked it up. It was 3 pages long. My mom's handwriting hasn't changed. Still that tight, curly script she used on birthday cards and permission slips and notes she'd leave on the fridge when we were kids. I won't copy the whole thing here. I couldn't, even if I wanted to. But I'll tell you what stood out. I believed her because I wanted to. Because the alternative that my daughter could be capable of that kind of cruelty was something I wasn't strong enough to face. And when the truth came out, I felt ashamed. But instead of doing the right thing, I did the easiest thing. I stayed silent and hoped you'd come to us. Then, you deserved our protection. And our belief. And I failed you on both. There was more. A lot of emotional backtracking, explanations wrapped in apologies. Some of it felt sincere. Some of it felt like justification. But what broke me, what really undid me, was the very last paragraph. The day you were born, I held you and thought I would never let anyone hurt you. And then I let your sister do it. I let us do it. I don't know if you'll ever forgive me. I don't know if you should. But I want you to know I think about you every day. Every single day. I sat on the porch, letter shaking in my hands, and just broke. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just a quiet, exhausted sort of grief. The kind you don't even realize you're still carrying until it spills out of you. Because I did want my mom to say those things. I did want to believe she meant them. But I also knew what came after the words mattered more than the words themselves. And the truth is, it was still too late. They had their chance. They all had their chances. Where were these words when I was losing everything? When I was screaming into a void, begging someone, anyone, to believe me? Where was this clarity when I needed my mother to stand by me, to say, I know my son. This isn't him. It took years. Years. It took Lauren destroying someone else's life. It took legal fallout and social humiliation. That's what it took for the truth to finally feel heavier than their denial. I folded the letter up and put it in a drawer. Not out of spite. Just, I didn't know what to do with it. It wasn't forgiveness. But it also wasn't rage. I think I'm somewhere in the middle now, a place I didn't know existed. Not hate. Not healing. Just distance. Emily and I went for a drive the next day. Up north where the trees eat the sky and the world feels wider. We didn't talk much, just let the wind fill the silence. At one point, she reached over and held my hand without saying a word. It said enough. Later that week, another message came in, this time from Sarah again. Your mom's been asking about you. She wants to know if you got the letter. I didn't reply. Not yet. Because here's the thing no one tells you. Just because someone regrets what they did doesn't mean they're owed a chance to make it right. Regret is not redemption. It's just awareness. And awareness doesn't rewind time. They're trying now. I see that. But for me, the cost of reconnecting isn't measured in phone calls or hugs. It's measured in nights I cried alone, in years I lost rebuilding my name, in the pain of knowing that when it counted, I was disposable. And now? Now they're trying to find me. To reach me. To pull me back into the family they exiled me from. But they're not knocking on the same door anymore. Because I don't live there.